I think in a snippet, I am the agriculture queen or the agriculture expert who strives to make sure that we are imparting knowledge to our farmers on a day-to-day basis.
Besides knowing agriculture expertise, besides knowing that you're supposed to grow crops, land use planning, etc., my question is, do you think our farmers actually know the business side of things?
Cooking, cleaning, washing, are these the only tasks that women are supposed to be doing? Then I gave them a big and huge no. Why? Because I have seen that there is a way that you can just try and have some form of a balance. So let's start farming. This is the ideal time. There's no time like the present.
Hello Africa, hello Zimbabwe, hello Zambia, hello Rwanda. My name is Nyazungu, aka the Chartered Vendor. Welcome to Ask Jerry, the Chartered Vendor podcast, where we talk about everything business, everything entrepreneurship here in our motherland, Africa. So today I'm super excited because I'm joined by Madame Wendy Madzura, the head of agronomy in Seedco Africa. Welcome, Madam Wendy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jerry Moore. We are used to calling you the Chartered Vendor because that is who you are. You have inspired a lot of people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay, so who is Madam Wendy? I still remember listening to Star FM this other day. I'm like, first time it was around 7 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken.
Around 7 years.
And I'm listening to this lady and I'm like, but I used to do agriculture at school. Then I ended up hating agriculture. But when I was listening to you, I said, this kind of explanation is making me feel in love with agriculture. So who are you?
Thank you so much. So I think in a snippet, I am the agriculture queen or the agriculture expert who strives to make sure that we are imparting knowledge to our farmers on a day-to-day basis. Because in my short experience that I've had in agriculture, I've been in agriculture, say, for 6 years, 5 years at ZFC, and then now going on 7 years at Seedco. So I think with that experience that I've had, I've learned that there are a lot of opportunities in agriculture that are untapped. The misconception that exists is that people think that agriculture is a dirty career. It's a career of last resort. It's something that you do when you have very few subjects. But nonetheless, agriculture is actually a science. So I've become so engraved in agriculture so much that you cannot separate my lifestyle, you cannot separate my character and what I do with agriculture. So in terms of even my free time, I find myself doing agriculture activities. I go to the field, be it mine, be it a farmer's. I don't really see it as work. So I live agriculture. I think I live, breathe, and eat agriculture.
Okay, yes. Interesting. I think that's where. So you have been 13 years.
Yes.
Doing the same thing.
Yes.
And I was just reading this book, which is written by, is it Rob Sharma? And it's called A Leader Without a Title. And when I was reading it yesterday, I said, that's you. Wow. Why do I say so? The passion. When you're in the fields, when you're speaking to the farmers, it's like someone you're enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah.
So how have you become a person like that? Is it inborn? Or you actually said, no, I think I need to fall in love with my job. Because I don't think it's about the paycheck. I just think that it's in you and you're doing it out of passion and you're so excited. And you see someone, I've never seen someone so excited whilst you're in the fields when it's raining. I've never seen that.
Yeah. So I would say partly it could be because of character, but I don't want to be a judge of my own character. So I would also say passion has also a great contribution to it. I've learned that it's very important for you to, in whatever situation that you face, to be humble. to fit within the circumstances, within the situation, the environment. So when I go to a field, if it's a large-scale commercial farmer, I adjust and fit to that environment accordingly. If they want us to speak about the articles that are on the internet, the new technologies that exist, I make sure that I'm well-versed and I read so that I can be able to have a meaningful conversation with a commercial farmer. Then fast forward and you take me to a small-scale farmer. Go in Buhera, in Rusape, in Guruve, in Dotito. I should be able to say, now I'm in a rural setup. I should adjust accordingly. And when I'm there, if she's sitting on the floor where there is no mat and she's sitting on the direct ground and she's peeling her groundnuts, she's shelling her maize, I should be able to sit down with her and do exactly that with no challenge. So over time, it has become so easy. It doesn't take any effort for me. I can relate with them at any scale. I can relate with all the farmers at any scale. And I strive to then add value in their different circumstances because I believe that we have a collective effort, a collective goal. My mentor told me once that you should have a purpose in life. So I believe that my purpose is to impart knowledge. And they have these extension services, use my skill, the talent that God has given me, and the experience that I've gained over time to impart knowledge to the next person, to take them from point A to point B. So I don't even look at their circumstance, their resource endowment, whatever they have. I try to fit in whatever they are doing. And then the other thing is also the fact that indigenous and knowledge systems also exist. So I also try to tap into those. If you are a learning person, one of my Gallup strengths is I'm a learner. So if you are a learner, it means in every environment and in every situation, you can take learnings no matter who they are coming from. So that has also helped me and shaped me. When I go to the next person, some of those learnings, by default or by choice, they can just ooze out in whatever I'll be doing.
Without even doing
so I wouldn't say it's I'm a superhuman being or I'm doing something extra. I think it's just also God's grace and the culmination is of passion as well and love for what you do. Because if you love what you do, chartered vendors say, as I'm sure you know, you will never work for a single day in your life.
Exactly, you'll be enjoying every day.
The
when
paycheck is...
When people are saying, how come you're working from Monday to Sunday? No, I'm even missing my office.
The
day you feel like resting probably with the kids, you'll be feeling like I'm missing something.
You should see my kids. They are now used to us going to field visits on weekends because I want to spend time with them. I want to strike that balance that everyone is striving to achieve. But then I've also then said, with my children, loving them as I do, but I also love my work, so there needs to be a nexus somewhere. So sometimes we go together.
Before you go today, I saw a video with a kid. Is that your kid?
Yes, that's my youngest. That's the agronomy light, the agronomist light.
Okay, and let us talk about this. I've had a lot of entrepreneurship seminars. I also do a lot of mentorship to people in business. I've done a lot of sessions trying to coach people entrepreneurship. And what I've noticed is most of the ladies will say, you don't understand it, Jerry. I'm a lady, so it's very difficult for me. How am I going to balance being a CEO and also I want to run a company and I want to run family? You don't even understand it because you're a man. Tell us today. Because I've noticed that. And how do you balance?
So for this one, let me sit properly.
Let me also adjust my seat.
So I'll speak for every lady out there in the different spaces and capacities of whatever they are doing, that it's tough. It's not a walk in the park. Why? Because there are societal expectations that have been given to women or expectations that are ascribed to women. Just on Saturday, just like you're saying that, I work 24/7. So they just called me last week and said, we want you to come through and give a seminar to women who are gathered for a conference at church. So I don't say no. If it's something to do with talking to anyone about agriculture, I cannot say no if time permits. So I then went. So my opening remarks or statements were that cooking, cleaning, washing, are these the only tasks that women are supposed to be doing? Then I gave them a big and huge no. Why? Because I have seen that there is a way that you can just try and have some form of a balance. You can never have a 50-50. But then there is always a situation that might demand more attention than the other at any given time. where you are then trying to strike a balance and see whether or not is it your infant who is not feeling well, and then you can say, this week, because my child is not feeling well, let me take a day or two out of the 7 and just try to attend to my child. But I'm not neglecting the work that I should do, because within that same week it's raining, and it hasn't rained for the whole year. We were all waiting for the rain, and the planting window is just that week. So you need to strike a balance to say, yes, my child is not well. I will attend to the child for a day or two, or for the period that I can, and then get help, and get good help, not just any help. If you get good help, it also helps you to get comfort when you are not there. For example, I now cover Africa, and Seedco is in 21 African countries in terms of the footprint, with about 13 countries where we are fully fledged. So with that, I'll be traveling a lot. Without good help, I would be stressed, worried, and just thinking about what the children that I would have left home and the husband. But if you have a person, a good help, you take care of as well of the helper that you have. Because sometimes as women, we want to then micromanage the help. If you micromanage the help and fail to understand that this is a human being who also deserves respect, they will also give you the same results in terms of what they're going to do for your family. So I find that has helped me a lot. And the other thing is the choice of your partner, your life partner or your spouse. For me, that has really helped me a lot. Because my husband is a medical doctor, but he has been my biggest cheerleader even before I could see and believe in myself. Because he would give me an opportunity to express myself, to work in a male-dominated environment, which I'm sure many men or gentlemen out there would not be comfortable with. So I would just like to acknowledge him as well, his hand and his role. And if you work together as partners, as in marriage, or if you're in a special partnership arrangement, it also helps you to then have that comfort in terms of having the balance. The other person is not then stressing you, giving you pressure and asking where you have been. So at some point, I'll just give you an example. At some point when my husband's workload was a bit lower than mine, and I wanted him to have an appreciation of my work, I then took him around some of the furthest farms that I would visit. And then just for him to appreciate, when I get home at 7 p.m., when I get home at 9 p.m., because I will have left my drive and my thrive is to make sure that if the sun is still up, I will see the next farmer. So it means if I am 200 kilometers away, 300 or 400 kilometers away, I will leave that place at 5:30. So I might get home late. So you might need to have that understanding from your partner. So we traveled, he saw some of the farms, and at some point there's one farm where you pass through the dam and there's no road. And he was saying, record me, take a video. Take a video. Then I was saying to myself, no, I do this all the time. But it was good. At least now when I get home and I'm tired, I'm not able to cook, because I won't be able to say I'm coming from work and I'll cook every day. It's not practical. So sometimes we bend our backs and we bend our backs as women trying to do everything. You cannot then be a superwoman that only exists in movies. You need a balance. You need to then say, if I want to cook for my family and I'm working and I'm under pressure, I'll cook over the weekend. I'll cook maybe the evening meal. If it's washing, if it's special clothes that you need to wash, make sure that you allocate time. So it's also a time allocation balance activity that you need to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is profound. I think all the women who are out there, you can hear it from the horse mouth. I'm not, it's not Jerry. It's not someone is saying it. It's you guys. Because I believe that is all about mindset.
It is.
We want to, and excuses sometimes don't count. Because are you going to imagine if you're going to just say, I'm going to be just one of the women, respecting my husband, staying in the house, and do what probably people are expecting you to do.
Society.
We're never going to get this wind which I have right now. So that's what we want to say to the women out there. What about, I've got this burning question. Who taught you marketing?
Okay.
Are you a marketer?
I think I'm a marketer by default.
Because you're almost the face of Seedco.
Oh, yeah.
I still remember when I was I was doing a presentation in Mashingo. They hired me to train in the church ladies, and they wanted me to train entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And I told them, I was teaching them about marketing. And I just said, look at what Wendy's doing. Wow. She's almost, you can easily mistake Seedco to her. she's almost the Seedco.
Wow.
And I don't think
I'm
even
humbled.
the marketer, the person who is supposed to be marketing Seedco, is marketing it like what you're doing.
I'm sure they are. It's just that we all have different
from my
skill sets. So in terms of my marketing experience, I would say I'm a marketer by default. Why? Because in my training, I trained as an agronomist. And as an agronomist, I would say we are not really people who are really well versed with, talking, sharing information, how you do it. But for me, some of these ideas just come. Even the captions, sometimes when I read after I've written the caption, I find myself wondering where I got it from, because it becomes, I try to make it catchy and long-lasting for the end user. I then did marketing when I did my IMM 2 years ago, which is just a few years ago.
2 years ago.
Yes, so I did IMM. So it helped as well to see that, okay, so when I'm doing this, it's because of this. But the marketing qualification came after I guess I had already started the marketing work. And it comes easy. I don't really need to put a lot of effort in it. It's quite exciting. It's fun to make sure that you're imparting knowledge. Because what has made it easier for me is that when I started off, it wasn't easy, because you'll be going in an environment where you are talking to people who know everything. Here, I mean that in agriculture, you find that they are CEOs, captains of industry, people who are big in their different respects, going into agriculture as a side hustle or something, or maybe a main hustle, but they do other things. So you're trying to then convince that person to say that, no, young as I am, I can give you an idea that can change your enterprise.
Exactly.
So it wasn't easy initially, and one of my very first farm visits, I'll never forget it. It wasn't easy. I arrived at the farm, a bit confident, borderline confident. I arrived, and then this very big gentleman who was the farmer at that time on that field came out, and then he was actually looking very puzzled to see this small little girl walking in, saying they've come to give him technical advice because he wanted to do about 100 hectares. And then he came and he said in our vernacular language, and then I said, makadi baba, ndini mdumeni wenyu ndatouya. And then he was like, oh, okay. So he asked a lot of technical questions. So it helped me to then say, if I'm going to add value to this person, for them to want me to come back or to look for me, I need to read widely. I need to have a huge network of other people that I can consult. Because one thing, Jerry, that I have realized is that you can never know everything.
Exactly.
So if you visit a farmer and you are not well versed with livestock production, be it poultry, is it about the construction of maybe ponds, fish ponds, you are not well versed with that. Just you having the correct contact that you can then relay to the farmer to say, if you are talking about livestock production, please contact Mr. Jerimo. He has done it for 20 years and he has a good breed. If it's about the boran farming thing, you can contact this particular farmer. So that network also helped, because what the farmer needs are solutions. Because as much as you are selling your product, this is one thing that people must realize. You should go beyond just selling the product. Sell the value. What is the value proposition that you are giving for that person to then want to have you in their mix?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, that information is profound. And I was almost thinking that I'm in a lecture. And it's good when you're also being lectured about sales and marketing from another person. So thank you so much. So we're just going to take a short break. And thank you, our viewers. Thank you, those actually listening. Thank you for sharing those eyeballs to us. We want you to stay tuned, because we want to learn now, how can you also make agriculture a business? Because some people, they think that there's what is called cell phone farming.
Yep.
People are doing all sorts of things, and agriculture is still the backbone of the African continent. So stay tuned until after the break. Thank you.
As we celebrate 10 years of building timeless businesses, M&J would like to take this opportunity to honor and celebrate our valued clients. Over the years, we have grown together, creating partnerships that have transformed dreams into reality.
We don't just celebrate our achievements, we celebrate the trust you've placed in us Trust that has made us your partners in starting and establishing your companies, and partners in navigating the challenges of business.
We've been your partners in investing in Zambia, South Africa, and other countries, helping you tap into new markets and opportunities for sustainable growth and future.
Partners in ensuring compliance with local laws and regulations, and partners helping you grow sales revenue for your company.
We've also been partners in establishing strong HR policies that will not only help your organization, but will also help you to attract the best talent.
Of course, we've been partners in embracing technology, helping you to acquire and implement best solutions that can increase your efficiency and productivity in your business.
Here is to many more years of building long-lasting brands, businesses that endure for generations to come. Here is to 10 years of building timeless businesses with M&J.
Welcome back. We're so excited. I'm still hanging with Madame Wendy Madzura. Is your husband's surname is what?
Madzura. So my maiden surname is Matashu.
Okay.
So it's Wendy Matashu Madzura.
Okay. So big up to to Dr. Madzura,
Yes.
for allowing us to have this opportunity to speak to you, and also to allow her to flourish in a career. So husbands who are out there, let us leave our women, our wives, to do what they're actually born to do. They've got a lot of talent. I believe Africa can be a better continent
It can.
if we change the mindset, if we change the way we do things. So welcome back. So we're talking about agriculture, and we're talking about marketing, and we're also talking about giving value. But right now, I want to pose a question.
Yes.
I've noticed that at one time, Zimbabwe was actually the bread basket of Africa, of Southern Africa, isn't it? But right now, we are where we are. Why do you think we are where we are, and what can we actually do to be number one again? I know that I checked the statistics. We're doing well on tobacco. We're doing well on wheat.
Yes.
And how can we actually bring back those glory days where we were the best in Southern Africa?
That's a very, very pertinent question. And if we manage to crack that, I'm sure we'll be food self-secure and sufficient as a country. Did you know that in Zimbabwe, the agricultural sector contributes between 15 to around 17% to the GDP? Okay. And with that said, we find that there are a lot of crops and activities that are happening in the agricultural sector that can go a notch above where they currently are. The Zimbabwean population currently is sitting at around 16.6, maybe to around 17 million, and is expected to reach around 18.6 million by 2030. One common factor that is going to remain come 2030 is that people need to eat. Exactly. People need clothes to wear. People need raw materials for their industries. What that means is agriculture, my dear Mr. Chartered Vendor, say, will never go out of fashion.
Exactly.
So it's a sector where we need to invest in. It's a sector where we need to re-look at, re-strategize, constantly check and adapt. So one of the main challenges that has affected the agriculture in Zimbabwe is the fact that 80% of our farming community are smallholder farmers. They rely solely on rain-fed agriculture, whereby the mitigation of climate change-induced weather, unforeseen weather vagaries, have been a huge challenge. Like this includes your floods, your drought. The last year drought was the worst in 40 years. So over the past, I think, 5 to 10 years, we have seen that climate change has been really knocking on the farming community in a very negative way, to the extent that even the farmer who is going to irrigate the 20% of the commercial farmer, this year, they've failed to establish a successful irrigated crop because their water bodies had been depleted in terms of water. Some of them failed to sustain the wheat crop even. They had to abandon some blocks because they didn't have enough water to continue. So I think think that what our agriculture needs, and I'm happy that the Ministry of Agriculture, which is our parent ministry, is on a drive, rather a blitz, to make sure that we get our agriculture where it's supposed to be. They have set up a lot of irrigation schemes, rehabilitation of water bodies, boreholes are being set up at different locations through the Ministry of Agriculture. And we have seen that some idle irrigation schemes that had gone unproductive for a couple of years are now being revitalized as well.
Okay.
And there are a lot of schemes that are available that are trying to add value to the farmer to make sure that they also get access to resources, access to inputs that they can use. Where the small-scale farmers, they have the presidential input scheme. We have the resource seemingly endowed farmers who are in the center. They're trying to make it, I think they are emerging farmers. For those ones, we have some facilities from banks. There are banks like AFC, different banks that they can knock on.
Okay.
But having said that, it also takes a mindset shift on the side of the farmer, on the side of the Zimbabwean farmer, where I am saying that we also need to see ourselves as able and potent.
Exactly.
We need to see ourselves with the ability to then really take this agriculture to the next level.
Yeah.
We need to move away from the notion that when we are doing farming, we can just say, I've established such and such a hectarage. We need to understand the nitty-gritties. Yield is a function of two things. No matter what you're growing, it's going to be yield per plant and yield per unit area. So when you go to the rural area for Christmas, they'll tell you, do you see that tree that is far away there?
Exactly.
That is where my field ends. And then you try to count the number of maize plants that are in that block. You find they are less than 100. And then the tract of land is about 10 hectares, which is to say productivity is not being achieved. The yield per unit area is not there. So farmers, we implore on you to make sure that if you are not able to do a large piece of land, start with the small piece you have. Master the small piece you have. Hone your craft on the small piece or block that you have. And now there's urban farming. There are a lot of people who have gardens. There are a lot of people who have peri-urban plots where you can do establishment of various crops. So the first thing that I would want is a mindset shift on the Zimbabwean. When we have that, we then need to say, if I want to get into agriculture, we don't want to just jump into it as something that we have just discovered or because so and so is doing well. We need to do the research. As you highlight in the books that I have read, that you have shared, do your research. Do your market research before you establish anything. There are a lot of crops. Some of them are even niche crops. You are going to establish baby marrow. You are going to establish Brussels sprouts. Do you know Brussels sprouts? Those small little tiny cabbages that are favored by the Chinese. You are going to establish a hectare of those and not get a market because you did not do your market research prior to establishment. So once you have done your market research, first you believe in yourself. This is a mindset shift. You do your market research. Then you analyze your soil to understand if you're going to be working in this particular environment. Get a custom-made recommendation that sits well with that particular block or field. And then the market research, of course, will have guided you in terms of the production matrix guided by the demand and supply. Where if you're going to have green mealies that you want to sell in maybe February, everyone will have green mealies. You will sell it at $1 for 20.
It won't be much.
But if you have green mealies now, as I was
you'll
driving
be making
here,
money.
Yes. So as I was driving here right now, there is a marketer from Mbari Msika in Harare, Zimbabwe, who called me and said, my sister, let's make money. Where is the green mealies? Where is the cabbage?
And is he a farmer?
He's a buyer.
He's a buyer.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you there. I've noticed that the guys who are making more money from agriculture crops are not the farmers.
Yeah.
The people who are making more money are the middlemen. And in Shona, they call them makoronyera. So a farmer has got a 30-ton truck of grain mealies.
Yeah.
But they want to sell them in Bari. If they want to do them by themselves, they can't. But they need a makoronyera to help them to sell those mealies. So my question is, besides knowing the agriculture expertise,
yes,
besides knowing that you're supposed to grow crops, land use planning, etc., my question is, do you think our farmers actually know the business side of things? Like we're talking about the market research to actually say, if I'm going to be doing my 10,000 cabbages, who am I going to sell them to? And how am I also going to be selling them?
True.
So you find that that's where I actually see. Do you think the 80% which you're just mentioning, they know their market very well, or they're just doing it, then end of the season, they no longer have any market?
Yeah. So I think that's where the farming community are lacking, because the farm gate price, the gap between the farm gate price and the actual market price is huge. But then it also sits on the fact that the farmers' productivity level to begin with is very low.
Very low.
Where you're supposed to get, maybe if it's a hectare of green mealies, you are expected to get between 3,000 to 3,500 dozens. You find them producing about 1,000 dozens, which is to say, with that 1,000 dozens, you want to make a miracle out of that. You want to make sure that you are becoming super profitable, but you are not able to do that because the production dynamics don't allow you. You don't have the market. So you need the macaroneras to come in and buy and go and sell. But where you have control over is your production level. If you are going to produce, say you're expecting to get 3,000 dozens and you get 3,500, 3,700, it means already you're sitting comfortably within your profit at that farm gate price where you're saying I'm selling at $1.50 per dozen or $2 per dozen. And then this guy is going to sell maybe at $1 for 4. $1 for 3 or $1 for 2. At the moment, you can even buy green mealies at $1 for 2. So first of all, they need to get their production right.
Okay.
If your production is right, you also maximize on your productivity level and profitability level. But having said that, there is still a lot of schooling that is needed in terms of the business side of farming. One, the value addition side of it, which also sits well within the business side, where we are saying if you're going to produce the cabbage, that one head of cabbage can cost 50 cents. But then if you're going to slice it up, fry it or boil it, put a bit of tomato or carrot, spice it for those who want it with a little spice, and then package it. And then you can write it on top there to say chartered vendor veggies. Special.
Yeah, you know, have your own brand.
With chili, with the sweet chili and different things. Now you have a brand. You have added an extra $2, if not $5 to the value of your product. So that value addition concept is not there. And whenever the idea of value addition is talked about, unfortunately, it seems like it's a big word.
You need machines.
You need, sophisticated machinery.
You were in America. In America, did you see a lot of sophisticated machines?
I did. But it's because they are also a bit developed.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean for us we cannot do it at a smaller scale. Just a month ago, when we had a field day in Domboshava, the farmer had a very, very interesting sun dryer from just poles of wood and then mesh wire that was going around. And it had 3 layers to say you have a layer of what is drying, what is dried up, and what you are now selling. And then on the top there, they had some plastic to then regulate something like temperature. Inside there, so it was quite cheap. I don't think that will cost anyone even about $50 or even $100. So we need to destroy that notion of value addition being said to be expensive. You can even sun dry on the sun there, just making sure that there are no flies coming into your leafy vegetables that you are drying. So yes, there is a lot of value in value addition. There is more that can be done. If anything, there is more that can be done in terms of extension globally, and even for the country, where we are saying that there's a lot of knowledge out there. There are a lot of researches that have been done out there. Some of them can even add value at a low cost to the end user. But there is no cascading of such information to the lowest point, to the lowest person who is in the rural area. Maybe those researches are sitting in some libraries, in some software somewhere, but no one is then extrapolating it to say, for this particular area, I'm going to you need this. Let's have a centralized maybe sun dryer that will cost us about $100. So if they're going to be doing that mikando, and then they do their $2 a month for 6 months, they set up their sun drying shed where they can have that value addition. So yes, I think value addition is needed.
But what about those who are now doing commercial farming? We have our local farmers doing commercial farming, and I think we can talk about the white farmers were doing very well. But we now have black farmers
doing very well.
Doing very, very well, because I think we've actually reached our record level of tobacco. Just correct me.
You're right.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, those guys, do they separate their money? Because, and business money, because agriculture is a business. And I would want you to encourage kids who are in ECD, those who are in primary, for them to start saying, when they are asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? They can say, I want to be a farmer. And no kid is going to laugh at them or to say as if they are funny. Everyone wants to be a doctor. Everyone wants to be an accountant.
Yes, that's true.
Everyone wants to be a teacher, a soldier. But how can we demystify this? Because we are doing this for future. And if our kids are not going to fall in love with agriculture, it's going to die. You're going to have a farm whereby no one is now farming there because they're not interested. They see it as if it's not a business. So what can you actually say in terms of treating it as a business and make sure that you're separating? If you do your farming right, you're doing your tomatoes, this money doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the business, which means when you get all that revenue, you're supposed to plow it back and probably get your small salary, and which means it's a business, which is a going concern.
Indeed. That's why they call you the chartered vendor. You have just the right questions to ask. So in terms of the farming community, the black farmers in Zimbabwe who are doing well, there are a lot of them that have taken farming as a business. They've even left their formal employment to go and do farming. Some of them have been in the farming business maybe for as a generational activity. So we have family farms that are being run from one generation to the next. So these people, if you try and get an appointment with them at this time of the year, they'll tell you, I'm too busy. I cannot give you 10 minutes or 20 minutes because I need to finish planting my 300, my 1,000 hectares on time. Why? Because they know the time value of money. So it's a business concept that they appreciate. They keep records. If they are going to be buying, even if it's a car, the mistake that is there is that a person does a hectare, and then after that hectare, maybe by God's grace, it rains. They get a few dollars. They get 11,000, enough to buy a Mercedes Benz. That will say the next time they want to visit the farm, there's no road.
There's no road.
So what are we doing? You need to buy an open track, which is going to ferry your cabbages from point A to point B, which is going to carry those knapsacks that you are going to borrow from the next farmer. So
Tractors.
yes, we do. Yeah, we do have a lot of farmers. I would like to commend the number of farmers in Zimbabwe, especially the young upcoming farmers, the middle-aged farmers who are coming up with farming and taking it as a business. We also have examples of some farmers who are thinking about the future of their farming enterprise, creating generational wealth. I'll give an example of a farm in Marsh West, in Banket, which is called Kombe Farm. So Kombe Farm, Mr. Paspanojika is the farmer, but he has capacitated his young son, who is Tawanda Paspanojika. And he also has his own block where he's not under the wings of his father,
but he's doing his
with
own.
The help of his father, after mentorship and him also getting a bit of support, he's now standing alone side by side with his father, taking lessons, but his father is slowly giving the hand or the baton to the child. So that's really commendable, and that's where we want to go to as a nation, and we really want to encourage such thinking and such a mindset. Then in terms of our farmers also taking farming as a business, they need to start even from the basics. They need to keep records. They need to write down whatever they will have done, even if it's in the rural area. If your grandchildren are going to visit you during the festive season holiday and they are going to dig, they are going to weed your field, that is labor. You need to cost it.
Exactly.
It's a cost because had they not come, that was a cost that you're going to incur
You're
on
supposed
something
to pay
else.
someone $5, $30,
Exactly.
yeah.
So costing, really, we need to go down to the basics and make sure that we understand, we take records and we take things to the next level.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you. And because what I've noticed, I would like probably to mention it on this podcast that I would like to accompany you on one of your few days. Whereby we need to impart knowledge. Because some people, they know that this is a business, but probably the how of now saying, how can I actually remove myself from my business? Because it's a challenge. I am saying it because I've worked with a number of farmers who come here for consultants. Because actually our vision is to build timeless businesses.
Indeed.
So big up to Mr. Paspanojika for doing that, because we are saying a business is supposed to stay for 200 years.
Indeed.
It cannot only be the white people who are able to do that, but us blacks, we're supposed to be doing that for us to be taken seriously as a continent. So I'm saying we can actually also go for those few days. You guys will be doing your specifics in terms of the crop itself, but we want to give knowledge to our farmers to say, how can you create a profit and loss? How can you create a balance sheet? How can you actually treat your tractor as an asset? If you borrow it to the next farm, you're supposed to be receiving what? Money, and how do you treat it? It's not money which you're supposed to use for when you're going to the bar. So all that, we need to be doing that. So I hope you're going to allow me, when you're doing a few days, we also educate our farmers, because it's national service end of the day. And I strongly believe that if we cannot do that ourselves, we cannot wait for government. I think there's a guy who actually said, don't wait for what the government is going to do for you, but just start asking yourself, what are you going to be doing for the government? So that's us. But my last, and this was very short, and I hope to call you next time when I when I get some time again, when you get some time again, I want to give a parting shot, especially to women out there, to people who are in agriculture, especially our young people, women. Someone is saying, I've got 1,000 bags, but I've got land, I'm not doing anything. And someone is in Lupane, Mzarabani, Nyanga. I want you to inspire them and actually say they can live out of agriculture. Being an agronomist is one of the best jobs and one of the most important jobs which we need, especially right now, with how our economy is like in Africa.
Indeed. Allow me to just respond to the first part where you would want to partner with us. It would be a huge honor because we want to give a complete package to the farmer. Like, I'll just give an example of when I went to the United States and we got an opportunity to see and learn a lot of things. So the follow-up project that we do when we come back to Zimbabwe, I identified a farm in Mangura, like a garden through 4H Zimbabwe Foundation. So we have a garden there that we are going to be training the women who are there. But in that training program, we said, okay, we'll train them technically. Practically, we'll show them how to dig the holes and do it right to increase productivity. But they need to do value addition. So we have someone coming in to train them on value addition. Then financial literacy, which is what you are referring to. Someone is also going to come. So as we get into this season, we really are looking forward to working with you. And I'll also hold you to that promise so that we make sure that we add value to our farmers. Then coming back to just a word of encouragement. Having also started the farming journey, I'm an agronomist, but I'm also a farmer. Having also started the farming journey, it's not easy for you to start because you don't know where to start. You have pieces and pieces of information from everywhere. Your friend is saying, no, grow this, and someone is saying, do this, and your uncle is saying, badari. You know, so there's a lot of pieces of information out there. I would say the first port of call is to get information from reputable sources. Get experts. There's a lot of information that you can tap into. Go on now it's a global village. There's a digital network. Just go onto that digital space and make use of it valuably. Yes, there's a lot of entertainment, but there's also a lot of rich information on the digital space. You can even be tapping into this podcast that we are being given on a regular basis so that you add value in your proposition. So if you want to get into farming right now, I've seen a lot of people, it's now become attractive. The Zambian young lady said it's now even sexy. Why not? Because it's a career choice path that we want to take. So it should be a deliberate decision. And I'm happy to say right now, I have a number of mentors that I have that are coming up and saying, no, we have seen what you're doing in agriculture. We've seen what other people are doing in agriculture. We want also to follow that path. And one of my mentees had a graduation just 2 weeks ago. I attended and I, blessed the event. And we had a lot of fun. And I'm now looking for opportunities that he can also explore. So it's a career choice that you can really do. You can really be successful. You can even have your children doing it as well. When I go out to the field, my daughter is always saying, hello farmers, can I also say something? So my nickname at home is Hello Farmers. And my son calls me Mdumeni Manyama. So it's something that can be done. One last word that I would like to leave to our audience is that as much as you see a lot of positivity on the social space and the digital space around farming and a lot of good strides that are there, it's also like any other business. It also has its challenges.
Exactly.
But the important thing is to face them head on. Take lessons, take learnings, and move to the next level. Last year, I did 30 hectares of production.
Oh, wow.
And I lost all of it.
Serious?
Yes, because of the El Nino-induced drought. It was a painful experience. But here I am again. Right now, I've germinated 15 hectares. I'm alive. I'm smiling. I'm back at it. If anything, I might even go above the 30. But with caution, of course.
Exactly.
So the important thing is to start. If you're in Lupani, if you're in Guruve, Mutare, Muzarabani, wherever you are, start where you are. And procrastination also breeds laziness. It also breeds delays, and you fail to go to where you want to go. So Peter Drucker once said, and I quote, "Be the change that you want to see." So it starts with you. And even the 2-time president of the African Development Bank, Agronomist Adesina, said, the next set of billionaires in Africa are going to be farmers. Who doesn't want to be a billionaire? Exactly. Maybe it's not $1 billion for you, it's 1,000. But it's enough to take you from one point to the next. So let's start farming. This is the ideal time. There's no time like the present.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was such an honor to have you on this podcast. Thank you for sharing all those nuggets. And actually, someone has also said, failure is not the opposite of success, but failure is part of success. So we must embrace it, like it, make sure that every day we're failing at doing something. And even our schools, want to challenge our schools also to start training people on how to fail and fail more, because eventually you'll be successful. So thank you so much. Thank you, our viewers. Thank you, our listeners. You guys are so wonderful. And remember to always subscribe to this channel. Remember to share, because we want this information to be consumed by anyone in Africa. We know that this continent is going to be, I've said it and I'll say it again. My dream is to have the people from America, the people from UK, not the citizens of UK to come seeking for jobs in Africa. That's my vision. And I believe we're going to see that vision in our lifetime, probably in the next life, but definitely it's going to happen. So thank you guys for watching. Until next time, it's Nyazungu, the Chartered Vendor, out.